We have 1 minute. So I'm going to drink out of my monkey mug for the moment. And I'm going to say hello to everyone. Okay, let's get us started. Hi, this is Kimberly from Are You Awakening? And I am here to talk about what your day would be like in the fourth density. So, to briefly explain what the fourth density is, that is the next density up from where we are in this ridiculously solid state. And as you do in your inner work and work on your belief systems, work on those fears, you increase your frequency. And increasing your frequency makes you brighter light-wise. So going from third density to fourth density, your body is losing a lot of that solid state and you're turning more into light. So you can imagine what it's like when you're a lot lighter than everybody else walking around this solid world. And it is a little bit different. So we're going to go over some of the things that are different. And I will have a little bit of time at the end for some questions. I know that there are some questions coming up. And so first thing I want to talk about is your day is going to be broken up into cat naps. So chances are you're going to act more like a cat. And I did a video about that where you'll see your cat sleeping. It looks like for 20 hours a day, but your cat's not really asleep. Your cat is actually in another realm. They're using their consciousness to be elsewhere. And that's what moving up into fourth density is going to be like for you. So for us, it might look like, we're meditating, we're taking more naps, that sort of thing. But what you're really doing is you're entering into different realms. And so you're going to take on a lot of the attributes of a cat. And you might not sleep, 8 hours in a row. You might sleep 2 hours and be up for 4 and sleep another hour, just like cats do, right? So that one's going to be kind of a big one. That one is something that will affect your life, and you're going to be getting used to that. Now, your family may not love to get used to that just yet, but as you grow, you're going to understand that that's a better way of living for you because you're more efficient. So you're waking up, you're falling asleep, you're getting up, you're doing things. What's really the purpose of that? Why would we not want to sleep 8 hours in a row? Well, because not everybody's body is made for that. Once you realize that you have a closer connection with your higher self, you're going to give your higher self that joystick. All right. That means that you can consider this body as an avatar playing this game. And your joystick is run by that higher self who you're going to have a much closer relationship with. So that higher self can see more of the game board. You're going to have more trust in that, and you're going to let it guide you around to a nap, to an appointment, to creating something. Okay. In addition, you are going to experience something I call glitter. And I see some questions coming in. I'm going to get to you, so don't worry about that. Glitter is one of my favorite things, and that is your ability while you're walking around this game board to see more of light beings that have always been there. So you might start out at night where you'll see little flashes and zips and all sorts of things in the corner of your eye. As you move further and further into fourth density, that's going to start happening during the day. It's going to be when you're in the grocery store. It's going to be when you're driving your car sometimes, maybe. And so the glitter is just your eyes adjusting to being able to see outside of its normal spectrum, the spectrum they told you only your eyes can see, right? Well, that's BS. So you'll be able to see more on this end of the spectrum and see and hear more on that end of the spectrum. So you're going to see glitter. It will look, after a while, will look kind of like static in between what you're looking at and you. And so you might see some little dots and black flashes and black lights and white lights. And after a while, you will get used to it. Just like anything, it will just become part of your vision, and you'll be able to focus just as you did before. So one of the major things about 4D, and everything I'm going to mention after this, has to do with your ability to trust. Because moving from three-dimensional life, where everybody says you're crazy if you hear things or you see things, right? You're going to start listening to yourself. And you're probably going to, I know there's somebody here who's asking about, your family judging you and that sort of thing. They're going to be in their place, and you're going to be in your place, and you're going to have to learn to trust how you feel about it. Because the major thing about this is that you're creating every single thing in your reality. And I mean everything. I mean me. I mean all of the props and the avatars that you see around you. You're creating all of them. So you're going to start trusting that you're going to be led to the things that you need to be led to. Now, your family may not be at that place, and that's totally okay. You have to go with what you're feeling in your heart and in your gut. Okay? So trust is the foundation for everything else I'm going to mention here. So the next thing, when you're walking around, let's say you go to the grocery store, okay, and you see somebody who walks past you or walks up to you, and maybe they ask for money, or they drop something and they look at you like are you going to help them pick it up? What that is a catalyst, okay? A catalyst happens to all of us all the time. A catalyst in 3D would be some horrible thing that happened to you, like a car accident or losing your job or breaking up with a spouse, those big giant things that force you to grow. But as you move into 4D and the trust factor takes over, you're not going to need those giant catalysts anymore. You're going to send yourself more gentle things. And one of those is something like when you were in the grocery store and this avatar walks up to you, does something, and it's basically a self-test as to what you're going to do. Now, is there some guy up there judging you? No, there is not. It's you creating it, and it's you self-testing yourself. What are you going to do? Are you going to show integrity? Are you going to be annoyed? What are you going to do? So that is those kinder catalysts are going to replace those big giant things that you've been dealing with. Okay? So don't necessarily expect that everything is going to be like over the top, holy shit, this just happened to me. It's going to get calmer. Yay. Yay. And you're going to learn things in a more gentle way. I personally love that. However, it's kind of weird because these avatars don't always look like humans. Okay, yeah. So I had one the other day, and he looks at me and he's got this big smile on his face, and it doesn't move. The smile doesn't move. And he looked like he was trying to break into a car, but he wasn't really opening the car. He was just touching the handle like this, like a kid. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then I realized he was just me testing myself. What am I going to do? Am I going to ask him to please not try and break into the car? Can I ask him in a nice way? Can I ask him in a nasty way? All up to me. All right. So the avatar thing, yeah, a little weird. One way you can tell, their eyes don't look right. What I've noticed is that their eyes look a little flatter, and maybe one eye will point this way and one eye will point this way. And you're like, ooh, something wasn't right about that. Well, don't worry. There's no darkness descending upon you. It's just you testing you. You are now more of a light being, and you're looking at things on this game board as avatars and as opportunities to expand versus everybody's against you. So again, that trust thing back in there again. So the thing about getting things done, and I hear a lot about that. Like, so now I throw away my watch and I just let my higher self lead me around. Well, how am I going to pick up my kid from soccer? Well, you're still going to pick up your kid from soccer. Even if you don't have a watch, you're going to send out that intention and say, I need to pick up my kid at soccer at 3. And then you're going to trust that your higher self is going to get you there by 3. And the reason it's going to is because A, it can see the game board, it can see the traffic you're going to deal with, it can see how long it's going to take you to get ready and get in the car and all of those things, and you're going to trust it. And integrity is going to take over, so you're not going to blow people off or flake on things, because now, as a 4th density being, integrity is number 1 for you. You want to be honest and transparent in everything that you do. And that's going to come naturally. This is not something you have to sit down and like hammer into yourself. Okay. So learn to trust that things are going to get done. Send out the intention that they're going to happen and everything's going to be fine and you're going to get there on time, and then trust it. All right. So time. Woo, yeah, time. So time right now in 3D, they tell you that you have a past, a present, and a future. Well, linear time was created for us as a construct so that we could watch ourselves manifest things. We could watch that process, the sending out the desire, the endless waiting. Oh my God, when's it going to get here? All of that, to finally see what we manifest. And as we realize that we're creating, those time frames, they close. You're not going to need that delay anymore because you know you're creating it, right? And you're aware enough to enjoy those moments that are happening while you're creating them. So time is going to get wonky for you. You might forget if you took a shower this morning, or like something that you ate for breakfast. You were like, did I have that for breakfast yesterday? Or was that today? And yesterday was like last year, and you have no idea what you ate for lunch. So expect that time is going to be based on your perception of it. And we got a little bit of a glimpse of that in 3D, where you would be like having so much fun that time flew by. Well, it can go both ways, okay? So I marked a calendar on June 6th, and I've kind of felt that progression of how far I've come emotionally, spiritually since June 6th. And it's like not quite 3 months away. And I'm like, holy shit, it feels like I've evolved for years. So things like that are going to change a little bit for you. You're probably not going to need your watch anymore. You're probably not going to care. Other than getting to places like you're supposed to, it's not going to matter so much because everything's happening instantaneously anyway. And as you recognize that, you're going to enjoy it. Right? You'd be like, oh, it's one less thing to worry about. So time, play with it. Your inner voice, that higher self that talks to you. I know, Stacy, you were saying you wish that your inner voice was louder. And yeah, I hear it. Or like some big booming guy's voice instead of your own. And you may have someone else's voice. I personally hear my own voice talking to me. And as you evolve a little bit more and trust it, and that relationship solidifies, you're going to have less and less distance between you and your higher self. That voice is going to get quieter. It's going to be more directive. If you have a voice at all, because as you grow a little bit more, you're going to open yourself up and say, I trust you, higher self. Just get me to do the things that serve my purpose, that serve others, and work through me. And so the voice will be very subtle, and you'll find yourself moving around before you start thinking about it. Because once you get that mind process in there, then 3D comes back in, or like, oh, should I do this? Did I? Shut your mind off. Once you trust, Just let it happen. Let me tell you, life goes by so much easier. Okay. So with that, I know we got some questions about symptoms too. Symptoms with your body, if you're already awakening, you're already feeling some of those awakening symptoms. I get that. That's, the I'm going crazy thing, I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things. Totally understandable. Those do not stop, but you'll recognize them as ascension symptoms and you'll just deal with it. So what most of those symptoms are, for those of you who are just awakening, there's energy coming through you, okay? As a light worker, you're a transducer of energy, meaning that you are put here like those big transformers up on electrical poles to move electricity through you, to transduce that electricity. So there is cosmic energy coming through the top, and then there's the earth energy coming through the bottom, the magnetic energy. And where it meets in your body, at whichever chakra, is where your kundalini is rising. So it's going to start down at your base, and it's going to move up as you do your inner work. And that really it's really a mess on your nervous system until you get used to it. And so your body reacts with symptoms, okay? The best way to handle that is to let that energy go through you. No matter what symptom you're feeling, it's always the same thing. Let that energy move through you, and a lot of those things will go away on their own. So one of the things I do is I let white light come through my crown chakra, and I let it fill me up on the inside and then go all the way out my feet, and it cleans out anything that needs to be cleaned out. So it's kind of giving your nervous system a bath, letting it move through you, because as a light worker, you are bringing down this energy, and wherever you go in the world, you are releasing it to those who don't have access to it yet because they haven't done the work. Okay? So those symptoms will still happen. You'll recognize them. And then there are a few more that happen as you really enter into 4D day. So one of the things I've noticed the most is your body heats up. Like you'll be thinking about something, sending out an intention, and bam, all of a sudden you're just sweating. And this is energy coming through you. You'll feel your hands are on fire. And lately I've actually been working on setting fire to paper. I don't know why. It's just I just want to make sure I can do it, because it's really basically showing myself how much power I have, not because I want to be on some reality show. So you'll feel that heat, and then you'll learn how to move that through you. And alternatively, you may go into a room and you feel chills. And it's not the cool kind of chills like, oh, I feel better. It's, oh shit, something's weird in this room. Well, with that, you're feeling lower thought forms. And the lower thought forms are always around. There's going to be you at a certain vibration. There's going to be plenty of beings at an equal or higher vibration. There's going to be thought forms that are of a lower vibration. It doesn't mean the darkness is after you. Remember, you're creating it all. So if you're feeling those chills, you can just dismiss any lower thought forms from your space. You can just say something simple like, I dismiss all lower thought forms from my space across all bodies and all timelines, and I send you to the light with love. So you're basically just allowing those of equal or higher vibration into your space. So do expect that you're going to feel that energy more so than you did when you were more solid. Okay? And that's because you're more light. You're tuning in to more of the spectrum than you did before. Your feet and your hands probably going to vibrate. There's times when I look at the phone on the bed to see if I got a text because they're vibrating so much. This is, again, energy moving through you. Let it go through you. Do whatever visualization. If it's keeping you up at night, let it go through. This is going to be how you recognize that you're connecting, okay? You may feel the tingle on your head, little tickles, or in the back of your neck where your occipital nerve is. You may feel it there. So expect that you're going to feel certain parts of your body that are going to tell you when you're connecting. And here's a weird one. It may affect you, maybe not, but when I have a doubt, a 3D doubt that sneaks in about my trust, I get this pain in my left foot. And I'm like, oh crap, all of a sudden my foot hurts out of nowhere. And I've come to realize that that's every time I have a doubt, that's my body registering that doubt, and it's giving me notification. Now, you may have some other notification, but pay attention to those sensations so that you can recognize all of those directions that are being given to you, because you are going to start living by synchronicity. And those are synchronicities. Those are guidance signals to get you to pay attention, to stay in alignment, to follow this, do that, consider this, click this link, all of those things. And they will show up in your body, okay? You will probably see brighter colors. And you might, a lot of people have been telling me this, and I just started seeing it a few months ago. I would see rainbows like on a wall. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look to see if there's any light shining in, and it's not. It's just you being able to focus in on more colors in the spectrum without having that seriously focused light. Now you're able to see more. In addition, your body is going to start telling you what to eat and not to eat, and it will happen naturally. This is not a self-discipline, fill out an action plan. I've got to force myself to do this. This is a natural occurrence where you'll maybe be pouring yourself, I don't know, cereal or something, and your body will say, don't eat that. I'm like, what? I just poured it. Don't eat that. Okay, where something yesterday might have been, you probably were being told to not eat it, but you're ignoring it. But eventually you're going to start listening. Once you start listening to that and move those specific foods out of your diet, you're going to excel immensely. I mean, like, you're going to shoot up in vibration because you're becoming more light. And what's going to happen, you're going to eat lighter foods. Okay. And it's going to happen naturally. You're just going to not want those things anymore after a while. That includes alcohol. And that doesn't mean that you never have to drink it again. Okay. I don't want you to think that, like, oh my God, all the fun things in life are over, because that's not true. You could still go to dinner and have a glass of wine, but going on a 3-day bender anymore probably isn't going to increase your vibration all that much, right? So if you're giving the joystick to your higher self, then listen to it, because it can see more of the game board. Okay? So exercise, same thing. You're going to probably start exercising, and it'll be something that's fun. If you don't already have a regimen, like, I hated to exercise. I mean, of course I did yoga, but it was $30 a class here in Hollywood. And I found reasons to not go until one day it just started, meaning I found myself dressed. I found myself with the yoga mat. I found myself walking to the studio. And that first, maybe the second time, I'm like, oh, what's going on? The third time it becomes a habit, and it's easy, and you want to go. So these are things that will happen naturally. Don't fight them. You'll find something that's interesting to you, and it might not even look like exercise to someone else. It could just be dancing in your room. Okay? So one more thing with visions. This is a big subject. I don't have a ton of time left, but I'm going to talk about visions. And you are living a number of lives right now instantaneously. Since there is no time, everything is happening right now. And not only are you living this life on earth that you're focusing on, and you're still in a semi-forgetful state about that, you're also living a bunch of other lives. And chances are, if you're watching this, you're a starseed or a twin flame, and you've been on other planets and definitely other times on Earth. This is my 867th life on Earth. I've done other lives, but that's really bad. Not bad. It's just I'm a slow learner, like remedial learner. Anyway, so you're living all of these different lives. And now, as you come closer to your higher self, who is overseeing all these lives, you're able to not only see what's going on with your higher self, but you're also going to have better visions about what's going on in these other lives. They're going to flood into you, and your life that you're having right now is flooding into them. And there's going to be experiences that they have that are going to show up as abilities for you that you didn't even know you had. Okay? So remember, this is a big one for people. Not every past life was bad. You didn't always get murdered. You didn't always have a horrible life where you died. You know, I have one where I fell off a cliff. Thank you, Emily, for shooting me that one, because she pushed me off a cliff. But I did kill her horse. But anyway, they're not all like that. You've had plenty of lives that were good. Okay, so you're going to start seeing visions, and it will be you looking out through someone else's eyes. And you'll be conscious of it. You'll be like, oh shit, where am I? Well, I'm seeing this, I'm doing this, and it's me, but it's not me. Well, that is very normal. That is you tapping in to your other timelines. So have fun with that, okay? You might have a couple that are a little creepy. I have one where this animal that doesn't exist on Earth is taking a bite out of my leg. When I see something like that, I recognize it. Thank you very much. That's a cool animal. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's got big teeth. And I recognize you. Thank you. I'm not interested in looking at you right now. I'm going to focus here. Okay. So expect that you will see more of these visions. You are not going crazy. Write them down. Write them down. And then it clears out your 3D mind. Okay. So with that, you're going to increase in wonder. And if you remember when you were a kid, you could like sit there and stare at like a ladybug walking on a blade of grass for a half an hour. That's going to come back to you, because now you're going to recognize your connection with the rest of Earth. Okay. Everything has a soul in one way, shape, or form. Maybe not necessarily that sentient human soul that you're expecting, but everything has an energy that you interact with. And so that wonder is going to come back to you, and you're going to be, you might just have a great conversation with that ladybug, and it will be totally okay. And your family may be looking at you like, this is you. This life is about you. Okay. And your family will deal with it. All right. So one more thing I'm going to talk about before I wrap this up, and this is your brainwave state. So right now, unless you're really bored, you're in your beta brainwave state. You're in your active conscious state where you're hearing what I say, you're seeing what I'm doing, and it's registering and being filtered through your brain. That's your beta state. Now, the next state up is alpha, where you're daydreaming, or like when you're driving and you arrive somewhere and you're like, oh shit, I don't even know how I got here. That's you in an alpha brainwave state. So it's a semi dreamlike state. The next state beyond that is theta. And that's when you're falling asleep and waking up. So you're in that hypnagogic state where it's like half dream, half awake. Okay. So as you move into a fourth density existence, you're going to be at the minimum at an alpha state. That fully conscious beta state is going to be like, you don't understand why you were ever there, because now you're allowing your higher self to be doing that joystick movement. You're trusting, and now you're looking at the world differently. It's more dreamlike. So you'll move from the alpha state into more of a theta state where you will be in a more dreamlike state, in that state of trust where you know that you're not going to be walking out into traffic because your higher self is watching over you. Okay. So there's a lot more, but I just wanted to limit this to a half an hour. And if you do have any questions, I do see a few here. Gamma. Oh, John, there is no best waves. Gamma is actually before the beta. So you it's a good question, and it's probably like a whole video on its own, but I will put in the links a link to some downloads that they are you have to pay for them, but they're worth every penny, from sacredacoustics.com. There are very, very few binaural beats or any kind of meditations that will bring you into a gamma state. That's going to be where your yogis are when they've been sitting there for 4 days. Now, it's beyond beta, and it's in our 3D world, it's a tough place to get without some help, without seriously cutting out all of the distractions. But I will put it in the link about how to get to that gamma state using some Sacred Acoustics recordings. So, Damon, you were asking, how do you know your past lives? Your past lives, there are plenty of places that you can have that done. You could do a QHHT session, which if you go to Dolores Cannon's site, she has hypnotists that can help you there. You could also go through Michael Newton's site. He does Life Between Lives. And so he's another hypnotist that took people back into past lives and then found a way to get them to go in between to the planning session so that you can do both of those. So there is plenty of hypnotists that are available. I'll also put in the links Lilian Eden. She's on YouTube, and she has a ton of guided videos that will help you if you want to do self-hypnosis, that you can grab those on YouTube and go that route. And if you're not used to meditating, and the guided meditations feel better for you, absolutely do them. You'll probably not need them after a while because you will be self-guided, but I will also put that in the link. Lilian Eden has a bunch of different meditations for finding out your past lives, which really aren't past, right? They're still going on right now. And as you ascend a little bit, those are going to come back to you anyway. So it is fun, don't get me wrong, but I don't want you to base your whole life on what you've done in past lives, because you're bringing that knowledge with you to this life. You just have been told that you weren't able to access it. So if it takes a hypnotist to do that and you feel more comfortable, then go that route. But you can certainly do it by yourself by using a guided meditation. And I'll put that in the links. Okay. Can your family hear you or know when you're in another realm when you can't control it? Well, you can always control it. Now, if they were to walk past you and you were visualizing, let's say there's somebody that you meet, and I have a twin flame and we know each other in all of those other realms and not in the physical yet, but we know each other in other realms. Now, in order to talk to him, if you came into here, you would see me laying down, and I wouldn't be talking out loud because I'm doing it in my head, but I would just look like I was taking a nap, just like a cat, right? Now, if you talk in your sleep or something, that's what it would look like. But what I want you to understand is, who cares? Because you're going to start understanding that all of those people, including your family and your kids, are created by you, and you're in charge of that. So their judgment of you is going to become less and less important. You're going to start seeing all the good qualities of them and not worrying about the judgment. Your relationships will probably get better because you are being more authentic you and not worrying so much about those judgments. So they may hear you talking to yourself. Seriously, I live in Hollywood. People talk to themselves all the time. You just tell them you're an actress. Shit, who cares? Okay. So we've got Damon, you've been this way for a year and you feel like it isn't positive and you have past tragedies. We all have. And as a light worker, you've probably had more tragedies than most people. Those were catalysts like we talked about before. Now, as a light worker, you've had these tragedies because you could take it. And now, as we ascend into the next density, you're going to be equipped to help other people when they're dealing with this awakening process. So you've already been through these tragedies and you've worked on yourself and you understand that it wasn't your fault. There's no blame. It was a catalyst. You learned from your experience, and you're going to be a way shower for those people. And that's why those catalysts came for you. Now, are you going to continue to look in the past and use those to change your present? Well, that's up to you, right? But if you truly understand that what you've done is just experienced something that's happened to you, then you're better equipped to help other people when they are dealing with that. So look at it that way. Try and find the positive out of that versus constantly focusing on the negative repercussions of that catalyst, because that's going to drop your vibration. And the whole idea is that you want to bring your vibration up. So if that means that you need to talk to a counselor about that, do it. I've gone through counseling, and it was honestly some of the best couple years of my life. And then I was able to take that over and go within and use an unbiased, argumentative system with myself to release some of those self-judgments that got in the way of me really truly learning what I was supposed to learn from that catalyst. So I hope that helps you. It's kind of a long description. I think that that's all I have time for. I went over a little bit longer than I should. If you do have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments and I will make sure to answer them. And I will put the links, as I promised, in there as well. And I hope that this was helpful to you. We are moving into 4D as a collective. You're ahead of the game if you're sensing any of these things going on for you. And know that you are always, always loved and supported. And that glitter around you, lots of evidence that you're not alone, right? You're not alone. Okay? Remember, you're creating it all. You are that powerful. I love you. And don't forget, always be yourself all the time. Bye.